Auburn at Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold's return game doesn't go the way he hoped it would. They lose 24-17. He gets sacked 10 times, was under constant pressure, and didn't handle it very well at all, in my opinion. But thoughts on this game, guys?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to get to my notes from it.
Sure.
The sacks, I think, were it. Other than the sacks, Auburn had the advantage in a lot of ways. I believe they had less penalty yardage assigned. They did have more penalties, but less penalty yardage assigned to them. They won the turnover battle. The D-line was dominant. They didn't allow Oklahoma. Oklahoma had 0 carries of 10 or more yards. They averaged 1.2 yards per carry. Cam Coleman had a great night, 3 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown, had nearly 30 yards of reception.
Dominated time of possession.
Yeah, dominated time of possession was like 35, 25, somewhere.
35 to 24.
Yeah, so it was really other than, Auburn not should have won. And I didn't get to watch it, so I didn't see all the bad calls, and y'all can speak to that. But I heard...
We will later, for sure.
I heard that people are saying that Auburn was robbed. But, it's impressive that Auburn was able to stop John Mateer's run game because that was kind of a big concern coming into this game is how that would look, and they were able to slow that down. But, yeah, I think that Auburn performed well. A road game at Oklahoma, you kept it close, lose by 7. But it's unfortunate that you had so much success in so many facets of the game and weren't able to get a win.
Yeah, that's fair. JP?
Yeah. So Arnold was indecisive. Very indecisive. I think he should have thrown it up a little bit more here and there. I thought the credit goes to Oklahoma. I thought Oklahoma won this game. I don't think Auburn was robbed. They had their chance. Like the Cam Coleman one that was big on
Sure.
Twitter, that PI didn't matter. It did not matter whatsoever. It's a 15-yard penalty. Arnold, the play after it, when it's not called, is on 4th and 11, runs for 17 yards. You gain 2 more yards than you would have gotten. And they go and score a touchdown anyway on that drive. So that play had no influence on the game. Sure. The start with the fumble recovery at full speed, I thought it was an incompletion. At slow-mo, he never had control of the ball. I thought it was an incompletion. The only one I think they do have a say in is the final one, and I'm not sure if we know what a catch is anymore, again, in football, because in my eyes, in no world is that a catch for Satanga on the sideline.
Yeah,
In no world.
I agree with that one. I wouldn't have called it a catch. I was pretty surprised they did, because also it doesn't seem like that's something they've been calling a catch all year. They've been pretty stingy with calling catches at this point. Like you better have firm control the whole time. You better hold on to it. And I'm pretty stunned with that one. And then also the whole giving up the touchdown on the fake substitution
yes,
thing.
that they did cheat on that. I don't disagree with that.
That one hurts a little bit. But I didn't. I guess you just never really see that. Like I wasn't really aware that was a rule in the sense
I thought the rule about that was
you couldn't come completely off the field.
You can't leave the field, and if you enter, you have to come up above the numbers before you go out past them. So I didn't know they broke a rule. But I also, because Johnny Manziel did that. That was 10 years ago. But that was in the NFL, I guess technically.
Yes.
But I don't know what the college rule is about having guys come partially onto the field or not technically ever leave the field.
You can't, with the way the SEC worded is essentially, you're not allowed to fake a substitution for the most part. And upon video review, they felt that Satanga was looking like he was coming off the field for a substitution and not going out there to line up for a route.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, it should have been officiated differently. And I agree. That's deception.
Sure.
It's deceiving. It's no different than hiking the ball, saying, oh no, ref, I think we have the wrong ball, then running for
that's
a
like
touchdown.
A high school play.
That's deceiving. I think that's BS. I think it's also no different than faking an injury, kind of, to if you were in a one-on-one on the outside and the wide receiver pulls up, it's oh, I hurt my hammy, and then blows by him like that. That's about bad sportsmanship.
Went straight up.
It's deceiving.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree that should have been officiated differently. Now, we never really got a good view on
What he did,
what
pre-snap,
it actually looked
100%.
like. And I'll be curious to see when that is finally posted by someone, by the media members that have access to the All-22. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like. But that was BS.
Also, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in the defense, not in the defense of Oklahoma, but in Auburn being like, we get robbed. It's also like, maybe don't screw up the punt right beforehand. That gives them the good field position.
Absolutely.
That then they run that play. I just like Auburn executed pretty poorly in key moments.
Yes, the penalties were terrible. Special team was a failure. So this was the sequence on it. They field a punt at the 3-yard line.
Toes on the goal line
for no reason.
Yeah.
They hit Cam Coleman deep on a go route. They're at the 50-yard line. 2 holding penalties, if I'm not mistaken. It pulls them all the way back. Bad snap on the punt. He could have still punted the ball even if it was his left foot. Didn't even try to make an attempt at it. Tries to run for it. They don't convert, and it's a turnover. Of course, they leave Satenga open on the sideline, touchdown. And they also have a missed field goal in the game. Like, Auburn did not execute. Oklahoma did. That's the story of the game. But the cheating one is tough. And then I also think it was not a catch for Satenga. For me, in that rule, he doesn't complete the process of a catch by surviving the ground. Like,
Does he ever go to the ground though?
he goes to the ground. He's catching it on the sideline I think he got to his 3rd step, and he's falling out of bounds. And for me, it's all in full speed.
Yeah.
So I don't care about the steps there because it's all in like one motion. He's not trying to make a football move up the field to gain more yardage, and then he fumbles it out of bounds, which is what they ended up ruling. It's all in one motion. He doesn't survive the catch. Like I didn't think it was a catch.
Real quick, Tucker makes the point that saying deception is bad sportsmanship is a slippery slope when play action to the thing. I was also going to push back on that a little bit because you've got plays where have you seen the plays where they'll fake incomplete passes? Like, so basically they throw a lateral that's nearly forward, and then the wide receiver is just like, oh crap, and then he picks it up and like runs it. Or fake fumbles, right, where like a quarterback will pretend that he drops it. Like there is a slippery slope of like you can't fake things. Because like that's what trick plays are, is faking things, right? Fake punts. Oh, we thought you were gonna punt it. You deceived us. Like,
yeah,
that is a slippery slope of being like, don't be deceptive when that's part of football.
2 things on that. Talking about the subbing someone out. That's like that's against the rules. If
Yes.
that's really what they did. It's like that one. Like you're basically trying to cheat the rules and hope you get away with it, and they got away with it. So really, the refs also just should have done their job. But once again, I actually don't know what he did. And the fake injury thing is just
the fake injury thing I'm not defending. I'm
'Cause
talking
you're like-
about more other like
sure, because like with the fake injury
football
thing,
play deceptive.
you're preying on the other person, the other
Yes.
team, or the cornerback, for example, if it's a wide receiver, like being a good person and not being
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's hurt, let me just like rock him.
Yeah.
So-
That is not what I'm defending.
I have the problem with it because it's something that, like Andrew is saying, like Jack is saying, but more so it's the officials can impact what is kind of happening. Substitutions, they impact every single time. Every single time there's a substitution, the white hat full arms extended to notify the other team that they can substitute. The faking an injury thing, like if a player's injured, the referee can stop everything that's going on. Now with the new ruling, like you can be assessed a timeout if the ball is spotted. And then what was my other one was the fake ball. Like that is one where they're literally taking the ball and trying to go to the official and saying, "Oh, this is not the ball." Like that is something the official is a part of. Play action, the official is not a part of because the play is not over. The fake incomplete pass, there's some middle ground there, but I'd argue that if the official has not signified that there was an incomplete pass and the ball's still live, the whistle is not blown. In
Sure.
that case, like they wouldn't blow their whistle if it's clearly not an incomplete pass, if it's clearly a lateral, and they're usually very good at determining whether or not it was a lateral or whether it wasn't.
Well, that comes real quick to an awareness
And
on
more-
defense thing. Right?
I think more often than not, they are giving benefit of the doubt, and they'll come back and reverse it. So they're never going to blow their whistle
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's close.
Tucker that's exactly the point I'm making. Tucker is like defensive awareness. If you only see 10 guys, you should find the 11th guy. If there's an 11th guy standing in the field of play, like I said, I don't know the rules. I've seen people complain about that. I haven't read the rule book, and I've heard people say that it was against the rules. I don't know what the wording of the rules is. If the rule is you can't fake substitutions, then yes, they broke a rule. I don't know how I feel about that because I've seen it used. Like if the NFL did, I think I like that play personally. I loved it as a kid because it is if the defense isn't paying attention and they see 5 O-linemen and a running back, a quarterback, and 2 wide receivers, someone's missing. You're supposed to find that, or I guess 3 wide receivers.
Sometimes
10
people
players.
don't get 11 players on the field.
Well, I mean, you should still, but if you don't see, you should still be looking.
That's the last thing I want to say on this, and I want us to move on
That's
because
fair.
we've talked about the ref stuff for long enough. But we haven't seen it, so I have no idea what the receiver did on the outside.
I mean,
There's 100%
have
a
you seen
world.
this angle?
Mm-mm.
Okay, he's here, JP. We'll do this real scuffed like. Yeah, it's Barstool posted it. So go to Barstool Twitter. This is him right here. He's walking to the sideline. He doesn't leave the field of play. I don't know why. Like if the referee is he's standing right next to the referee. He turns and lines up, I guess, because he's got to be careful about where he aligns, right? Because he can't be in the backfield or covering a guy
Sure.
up. So he's got to be careful about where he lines up. I assume he's not just standing there and then touchdown.
But yeah, I don't know.
We can't see exactly what
see.
he does.
Okay.
The all 22. Well, Andrew, if you want to send that to us, I would love to see it.
That is the view we were saying, I think.
I
That was the
maybe that is the all
22 view.
22.
Sure.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And if he's not popping up on the all 22 view, then I think that's also maybe a problem too.
Yeah, the
That
all
is fair.
22 camera faked out as well. But it's not great. But I do agree. Like Auburn, you are correct. Like Auburn could have been more aware and could have covered it and not had to have the refs kind of save them in that moment. But also the refs should have saved them.
yeah.
I don't know. Jackson Arnold, I was pretty disappointed with the game he played.
Mm-hmm.
The O-line I actually thought was solid. They got beat a couple on some of the sacks, but a lot of them, his average time to throw was over 3 seconds, and he has to know that they're blitzing,
Yeah.
and that's a very talented defensive front, and he just played indecisive.
Was that a secondary thing, or was that like were wide receiver covered, or was that just poor decision making?
I think it was twofold.
Yeah.
S-
Go ahead.
Sitting there too long,
Yeah.
and then also like not diving up enough quick hitters
Yeah.
for
Sure.
Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton being such speed threats on top of for Cam he's a great physical threat as well. That they weren't hit enough in space. There's if they're blitzing as much as they are, that means it's more often than not you have one-on-one coverage, and pretty much you're guaranteed with if you have both of them on the field that one of them is in one-on-one coverage. So dial up more man-on-man beaters, one-on-one beaters, and allow that to happen, and not ones that take time to develop down the field. So I think that's part of it. But I also think it more so is just he was sitting there in the pocket for so long. The clock was clearly never ticking in his head. That is something they talk about with quarterbacks. It's something I'm not to compare myself to a collegiate quarterback or an NFL quarterback, but as a semi-professional Madden player, you have that feeling too as a quarterback sitting there in the pocket, because when you're playing against the hardest difficulty, you're playing against another team and another person, you're going to get sacked if you sit there for 3 seconds more often than not. Even with an excellent offensive line, even with 99s across the board, if you're playing Ultimate Team, you're going to get sacked.
Sure.
You have to know when you need to scramble as well. And if I can understand that, then Jackson Arnold better be able to understand that. And I don't think he did the entire game, and I clearly not. And then also, when he did try to run and scramble in those scenarios, Oklahoma did a great job of contain and getting to Arnold. And for him to only have, I think it was 7 rushing yards in the entire game.
That takes into account
negative 11,
sacks.
not even worse. I don't know about with sacks. He probably had 20 rushing yards,
I think I had it in my
give or take.
Yeah, you can go look. There's also a thing is
11 carries, 33 yards.
I don't
Because
think
if you take out the sack yardage,
Yeah.
he had
I don't think the clock is there. I also don't like the way he does move in the pocket as it's breaking down. Like even if he realizes he's breaking down, I know Oklahoma did a really good job in contain. I still don't really think he picked his rushing lanes well or like saw the avenues out well at all. He didn't extend plays like I hoped he would, or I would hope a runner of his caliber would. I get the defense was great and OU had a great game plan, but if he was this 5-star and we think he can still live up to that, I didn't see that at all because a 5-star is going to at least turn a couple of those plays into gold. Think about the touchdown Justin Herbert threw today, right? Like that kind of play is
incredible.
What you think the ceiling is for Jackson Arnold, and that's just not there in my opinion at all because of the processing stuff.
Yeah, not at all. And it sucks for Auburn, too, because
Sure.
they use an excellent performance out of their defense. They really kind of held Mateer in check. They held the rushing game in check. Cam Coleman was ridiculous. Even when they didn't call a PI, he only has 3 catches in the game, but the 3 catches are super impactful. One of them, like I said, they had 2 penalties right after it. Then they have the terrible punt. Has a touchdown in the game. He had at least 3 PIs, if I'm not mistaken. He might have had 4.
The double move as well he made that Arnold missed him on
Yes.
was fantastic.
Arnold missed him a couple times down the field. Eric Singleton was really good, too, their leading pass catcher. And so for their defense, especially the defensive line, to play that well in the running game and against Mateer and his scrambling, and then the receivers to play this well, that was kind of the question. Will this be different than the Michigan game because Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton are on the field and not the Michigan receivers who are a bunch of nobodies, essentially? The answer was no, because Jackson Arnold just wasn't up to the test. And that kind of sucks for Auburn because this was a big game. Would have been a huge win. It really springboards them going forward. You go into next week and you get to play at A&M, and for me, I would argue you get to play with house money.
Sure.
There's no pressure on that game whatsoever. I think you're losing that game and feeling fine. But now you're in a spot where you could potentially lose at A&M, and then Georgia comes to town. You're 3-3 all of a sudden, and a 3-0 start means nothing, and now Hugh Freeze is right back on the hot seat. So it just sucks. If you're an Auburn fan, it has to suck for the Tigers to waste that kind of performance. On the Oklahoma side, another gritty win, an SEC win at home is a good win, and they won this game. Their defense took over, of course, sacking Arnold as much as they did. I thought Mateer again showed another great game. Well, his stats weren't there. He just makes throws, like I said with Mendoza, that are just not throws that every quarterback is making out there on Saturday. And he puts his receivers in fine spots. He's not afraid to throw the hospital ball, but it's a hospital ball that is being completed every single time. Not one of those ones that you're throwing it and the receiver just gets blown up and dies. It's a hospital ball, but those are catches that the receivers are signing up for. They were signing up for those kinds of hits, and he is making those throws. His arm angles, like the difference between him and Dylan Raiola is his arm angles, I think are actually a huge positive, and he uses them in the right spots. Dylan just uses them on a 2-yard check down, and it just looks weird.
He does it for vibes.
Yeah, it
Mateer does it for practicality.
It looks stupid at times. If you're throwing a 2-yard check down with a sidearm, dude, throw it normal, please. So I thought Mateer was again impressive, and now they have a bye, and then the Red River Shootout, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pulling it up.
I believe so.
No, they play Kent State, so yes, a bye.
Yeah.
No, they have a bye.
Kent
Kent State, Red
Texas.
River Shootout. So they essentially have 2 byes before the Texas game.
And then they close out the season with 5 straight ranked SEC opponents.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch, and that'll lead me into Andrew McBride asked what he thinks the ceiling is for OU this season. Ceiling is 10-2 for me. I don't expect them to get there, but that's their ceiling. I'm still just worried about the lack of a rushing attack, especially on the inside. I think at some point that'll come back to bite them, and Mateer won't be able to carry them through a game with his passing because it wasn't good in this game again at all. So the O-line concerns are still somewhat there for me. but they've already won their first 2 biggest games. They're 2-0 through their first 2 big tests. So they could hit 10-2. I don't see that happening, but I'll call that their ceiling. I don't know if y'all agree or disagree.
I disagree. I think they could go undefeated.
You think they go undefeated?
I think with the way they played defensively, they could go undefeated. I think we could still. I would actually. I'm confident that they are holding some plays. Like, I don't think they've shown their entire hand yet against Michigan and Auburn, knowing
Bold
that they have to play Texas and that they have to play Bama. So I don't think they've shown everything yet. And their rushing attack is still like, if they were to play Jay Knott, maybe it might get better finally. I don't know. I still don't know what's going on there. It frustrates me because I drafted Jay Knott in the first round of our draft this year. But I think they could go undefeated. I think Mateer's good enough as a quarterback that he can win on the road. They have the weapons. I think Deion Burks and Kanik, the tight end, I think are good enough. Mateer being able to run, like if their offensive line were to break down against the pass rush, I think he would be good enough to scramble and make those kind of big plays. And then if Venables just has consistent defensive performance like he's had, now I will say against offenses that are limited, then the ceiling is 12-0.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll go undefeated the entire season, but
I maybe would go 11-1 with the ceiling. I don't see an undefeated season.
I think an undefeated season could happen. I don't see it happening. If that the
Yeah,
ceiling
same.
is definitely 12-0.
Well, then Mississippi State ceiling's 12-0.
No, that is not.
Y'all
that is,
are
that is not
4-0
the same
right now,
thing.
and
No,
it could happen.
It's 8-4.
It could happen.
So it's 10-2.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I also could
I mean, do you disagree that like the defense?
They
and
can't.
with
You're saying they
Mateer
can't go
couldn't
12-0?
Go.
I do not
12-0?
see 12-0 happening here
Okay.
at all. I don't think the rushing attack is good enough. The defense has looked fantastic, but they played a very limited offense in Michigan, and then Jackson Arnold led Auburn team. Like,
if Arch Manning, if Arch Manning faces a good defense again and struggles and scores 10,
They'll play. He
14,
plays at Florida
20
this
points.
weekend.
If he scores
Or it might be in 2 weekends.
like there's a very good chance Oklahoma could go in and win that game 21-14, 21-17.
Okay.
South Carolina, you're low in South Carolina.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
an easy
discounting
win
that
there.
game. Take
Ole
that.
Miss, there's a route to them beating Ole Miss at Tennessee. They could go in there. I mean, I that's a great matchup of two like really good defenses from not like historical defensive schools, and then two good offenses led by transfer quarterbacks. I think there's a route they win that game, right? There's a path for them to win that game. At Alabama, Alabama has struggled against rushing quarterbacks. John Mateer could go in there and rush for 225, and then you play Missouri. I think at home, there's a chance you win that game, and then LSU at home. Like there's a chance you win that game 14-10 because they can't score. So like there's definitely
That's disrespectful to Missouri, but
I said LSU. I meant
sorry,
LSU.
sorry,
LSU.
my bad.
So there's a path to them going 12-0. I don't see it happening. I think that there's a chance that this team, we've talked about this, if they lose a couple games, could be a 9-3 playoff team. If they lose to Texas somehow and then lose to Alabama and then lose to Tennessee, you still beat Ole Miss, you still beat LSU, who right now is number 4. You beat Missouri, you beat South Carolina on the road. You've got to win against Auburn, against Michigan. Like, I'm not going to say I don't see this team losing more than 3 games, and so would it be bold to be like the floor for this team at the playoffs at this point?
No. I'm disagreeing with that take.
You think that is bold?
I think that is bold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you think that
I think they could go 8-4, 7-5.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying
It's a very
7-5?
It's an insane back.
So you're saying the range is 7-5 to 12-0?
Yes.
It's an insane back into the schedule.
Because I really think we haven't seen it. We haven't seen enough weeks of the SEC yet, but I think it's going to be carnage, and I think really teams could eat each other alive.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why 12-0 is not the ceiling.